You are listening to The Spooky Darlings, where three sisters talk about all kinds of things that fascinate and excite us. I'm Emily.
I'm Nettie.
I'm Haley.
And today you are joining us on the 22nd state of our state-by-state, alphabetically, cryptid crawl. We are talking about Michigan cryptids today.
Mm-hmm.
And who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll go first because I'm doing, well, according to the internet and to all my searches, I'm doing the cryptid that's considered sort of the most famous, most prolific. Are you thinking about how I just put a T on the end of famous?
I was.
Mm-hmm. Most
But
famous,
I wasn't going to say anything because I'm getting
prolific.
that reputation.
Especially after Massachusetts.
I'm good at putting the T on that now.
And after on the last episode, I said something about Nettie saying incidences instead of incidents.
No,
And
to be fair,
she
you said instances instead of incidences because you thought I was meaning to say instances.
I thought you were meaning to say instance, and you said incidents.
Yes.
And then you took off the S, so you just said incident.
Because that's what I meant to say was incident,
Right.
not incidents.
But you took that off, but didn't take out the part where I said, you said incident.
She says.
But
And then I'll tell you what she says.
So I says to my sis,
I'm sorry. I didn't think about how it would make you look or feel.
okay, no worries. I'm fine.
Okay. So
Besides, you're rubber, I'm glue.
that is true. Wait.
It sucks. It sucks for me.
Oh my God.
Okay.
You just insulted yourself.
Yes.
No kidding. No kidding.
Are you ready?
I think so.
All right. We're in 1987 in Traverse City, Michigan. And it is April 1st, 1987 in Traverse City, Michigan. And a radio host with this show had just done kind of like their annual April Fool's show, where they always try to make some kind of joke, some kind of prank to just sort of, have a little fun with their audience. About an hour after the broadcast ended, the receptionist gets a phone call and she picks it up. And what she hears on the other end of the line is a man, older man, and his voice is trembling. And he said, I was on my way to work and I had to pull off the road. And I've been sitting here thinking about whether I should call in, but I need to talk to someone because you guys just played a song on the radio about an hour ago. And it just brought back a memory, and there's something I need to tell. I've got to get it off my chest. So she decides to put him through to the DJ on the other end of the line. And the DJ is Steve Cook. And Steve Cook is the one who made the song that was played as part of the April Fool's show. The man calling is named Robert Fortney, and he's calling from Paris, Michigan. And Robert Fortney tells Steve Cook a story that he had been carrying for 50 years. He said it was 1937. So we're now in 1987. 1937. Robert is fishing along the banks of the Muskegon River, and it's really quiet. It's a lovely day for fishing, and he hears a noise behind him. And he looks and he realizes he's being surrounded by a pack of wild dogs. And so he's kind of overcome with fear. And he's looking at them and he has a gun with him and he doesn't want to shoot the dogs. He doesn't actually want to harm them.
Oh, that's a first.
But he takes his rifle, or a pistol. I'm actually not sure if it was a rifle or a pistol. And he fires a couple of warning shots into the air. The dogs startle but don't really move. He does it again. All of the dogs run off except for one. And what he noticed is when the rest of the dogs ran off, there was one in the middle and he was huge. And the dog stared at him, was staring him down, and he was completely just, terrified, as you would be if a giant, wild-looking animal was just staring at you. But what he noticed is that the dog had blue eyes, which is really odd for a dog that's not like a husky.
Uh-huh.
And this dog looked like a wolf. But right then, the dog stands up to his full height on his hind legs, and he realizes that this dog has a very human-like body. He does have fur, but the build is human, and when he stands up, he stands erect like a human would. Like a Homo erectus.
Like a teen wolf?
Like a teen wolf. But his shoulders and head are that of a wolf. So the dog looks him in the eye. He shoots in the air one more time, and the dog stares at him for another beat and then turns around and walks away. And Robert just sat there breathing, and he did not tell anyone. He never told anyone what happened to him because it was so unbelievable. He didn't think anyone would believe him. He didn't tell his wife. He didn't tell his kids. He didn't tell his beer buddies. He just kept it.
Wow.
So then he hears this song. And the song is by Steve Cook. He wrote it as a prank. But what he did is he used an event that had happened in 1887 where a group of loggers claimed to have seen a half man, half wolf in the woods, and then little rumors of other incidences.
I knew it!
Yes, that was correct. No, that was correct, though. Rumors of other incidences, because there were several.
Rumors of other incidents.
Yeah, but there were several of them. So incidences. Need to do some more examination into the use of these words. Rumors of other incidents that he had heard of over the years. And he sort of made this song, but he really did mean it as kind of a prank. And what I read was that when he told his friend, who he shared the radio show with, his like co-DJ, whatever you call it, his co-host, like they were talking a couple days before, and he's like, the co-host was like, we've got to come up with something for our annual April Fool's prank. And Steve said, well, I've got this song I've been working on. And the co-host listened to it and he goes, I feel like we should save this for Halloween. This is like spooky more than like April Fool's pranky, but they didn't have another idea. So here's the song. I'm going to play about 20 seconds of it.
Yes, I was hoping.
And Emily, if it's available, you could use it for the socials.
Oh, yeah. Tell me everything about it.
Yes.
Unless I want to use the song from my cryptid story. Just kidding.
Oh, is there a song from your cryptid story too?
No.
Oh. All right.
Hers is The Devil Went Down to Georgia.
He was looking. That would be good for Georgia. Did we use it for Georgia?
Well, she's looking for it. Did you guys see that video I sent you on TikTok of the the person at the Luke Combs country concert? And they're like, why am I sitting next to the Phantom of the Opera? And there's this like, like,
I haven't seen it yet.
Like singing along with all the songs with such a high, like she's an octave higher than everybody else, singing very operatic.
That's so funny.
Oh my gosh. I have
totally ruined their experience.
Oh, I can't wait to watch it.
Not nice. And the funny thing is that whenever people complain about singing along at a concert, you're usually like, oh gosh, just relax. It's a live concert. Like people want to go to those things and sing along. But the clip of that lady, you're like, but not like this.
But don't be this person.
Okay, it's called The Legend of Michigan's Dogman. And he wrote it.
So the officer and I went out there to take a look at it. He just tried to chew in around the doors. And you could see a dog print, alongside the window there. And so it was, obviously a dog.
Love that keyboard.
It's a Casio. It was a $99 Casio.
I love it. What's this beat they're using? Not bossa nova.
Not bossa nova.
I love that shoulder action, Emily.
From your Casio days.
A cool summer morning in early June is when the legend began. At a nameless logging camp in Wexford County where the Manistee River ran.
This guy has a great voice.
The lumberjacks near the Garland Swamp found an animal they thought was a dog. In a playful mood, they chased it around till it ran inside a hollow log.
Ooh.
A logger named Johnson grabbed him a stick, poked around inside. Then the thing let out an unearthly scream and came out. And stood upright.
Oh, no wonder it triggered that guy's memory.
None of those men ever said very much about whatever happened then. They just packed up their belongings and left that night, were never heard from again.
So I do believe that they were heard from again. But he kind of just made sort of like a fictionalized version from little bits of stories that they had heard. And the song goes on for 5 minutes. That was the first 2 minutes, actually. That took a while. I might cut out some of the intro. So here is what happened. The radio station continued to be flooded with phone calls, and people called. So the first guy that called, Robert Fortney, Steve Cook said he had chills. This guy was genuine. He was telling the truth. He wasn't someone who was like making up wild stories. He was like a man who just, he was believed.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that the dog was upright, I think, is what triggered the memory. So we're going to take you kind of through the sightings that were present before the song and then the sightings that came after the song. All right? I do have to say that there aren't any surviving newspaper accounts from any of these, and there's no like diaries of this. All of it was sort of word of mouth.
Okay.
So it was kind of like one of those legends everyone talked about. Maybe people wrote about it like in little story logs, like there's a legend, but there weren't like newspaper articles or newspaper reports or anything that could actually be deemed like official firsthand accounts until after the 1987 song. Mm-hmm. And the first sighting was exactly 100 years before, in 1887.
On April Fool's Day?
I don't know, because it was in June. It was in June of 1887. But just the song came out on April Fool's Day. So there were the loggers, 11 of them, it said. And that's pretty much all we know, is that 11 witnesses said that they saw something that was like 7 to 8 feet tall, standing on his hind legs with a human body and a dog wolf face.
Mm-hmm.
That they were scared, that it had piercing blue eyes. And it didn't do anything to try to harm them. And I don't think, like in the song, it said they chased it into a log. I don't know if that part's true. But they all said they saw it, and they all like stopped logging in that area after that.
Wait.
But then the next spring,
Do you think it's maybe like a protector?
I don't know. And here's the interesting thing, like Dogman, like this is the biggest, like probably most famous cryptid in Michigan, but stories of dogmen are in many
Everywhere.
states, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, which we'll hear a little bit about some, because Wisconsin and Michigan border each other.
Yeah.
And there were sightings that were kind of not super close, but close enough
Parallel,
where they could be the same cryptid that didn't realize there was a state line. It wasn't supposed to cross.
It reminds me a little bit of the Palmyra wolves, except their eyes were green.
Yeah, and they
They
glowed.
stood upright.
They did. Were they 8
And
feet
there was
tall,
a
7
pack
to
of
8
them.
feet?
Yes.
Yes, a pack. Well, and what was interesting is that the pack that came out with this dog, they just said the other 5, well, Robert Fortney's sighting in 1937, the other 5 dogs just looked like normal wild dogs, but he didn't say wolves. He said wild dogs, which I thought was interesting.
Distinct difference between the two.
Unless you,
Unless what?
I was just going to say, unless you're a dumb kid. But
Yeah.
then I stopped myself.
And then I made you say
Robert
it.
Fortney deserves dignity.
If you listen to the lyrics of the song, and this part's kind of made up, like it's every 10 years. So it's every time, it's almost like this creature is seen in cycles where it's every 10 years. So 1887. And then the next one in the song is like, well, I think there was a record of something in 1997, but I couldn't find like what it was. But in the song, it sounds like it was a dream someone had. And then it kind of goes through, but then the first like official report, like through like every like 1907, 1917.
Oh, did you mean 1897?
1897 was when the first was, no, 1887 was when the first one happened.
But then you
there was
said
one in-
1997.
Oh, then in 1897.
Okay.
It's so hard to say 18 and 19 right when you're crossing
I get it, girl.
crossing the centuries.
That's why I asked a question.
Yeah, that's kind of nuts. Yeah. So, I mean, he took the songs, kind of made all these verses, 1907, 1917, 1927, 1937. He even made one for 1937, but it wasn't Robert Fortney's story.
Oh.
He records the song in a couple of hours. He had written it as a poem first, and they were going to read it as a poem. And then he was like, wait, let me see what I can do with this old Casio. And then it started to become the most requested song at the radio station. People were calling in saying, could you play The Legend again? Can you play The Legend? And then he ended up adding verses to it based on experiences that people were giving him.
Wow.
Hold on. 5 minutes was already too long. He added more?
He added, well, I think the version that we listened to is the one with the more added. But yes, I think it was a shorter song originally. Yeah.
I see.
So 1987, the year he released the song, there was something that happened that is called the Great Cabin Attack of 1987. And this song has been on the air for 3 months, right? Northern Michigan is buzzing. People are starting to call in reports of Dogman sightings. And on July 16th, 1987, the Cadillac Evening News runs a story. There was a writer named Mark Marentet, and he breaks it. And he said there's a vacant cabin in Luther, Michigan. So it's by the lake, and it's south of Cadillac. I wonder if that's where Cadillacs are made.
Ooh.
Probably, don't you
I think so.
And then overnight, something attacked the cabin. So it's vacant. People aren't there. But the front door screen was ripped off. Molding around the door and one of the windows was shredded and chewed up. There was slobber. There was tufts of hair. There was damage everywhere.
Whoa.
2 police officers go to the scene. There's Lake County Sheriff Deputy Jeff Chamberlain and Lake County DNR, and I don't know what that stands for, Conservation Officer Chuck Turk. Both of them go out there in person, and they're looking around. And the headlines in the days that followed say things like, attack on cabin kindling fears of the Dogman. The Grand Rapids Press runs a piece about it. The bartenders at Joyce's Tavern in Luther are telling reporters that locals are afraid to go out to their cars, or are afraid to get out of their cars to look at the cabin. So people were driving up there and just staring at it, but they didn't want to get out of their car, which understandably.
Yeah.
Like that lady that got recently attacked in Oklahoma by, I think the official report is that they're saying it was a wild dog, but before they officially reported that it was a wild dog, they were saying that the DNA they took from the bite marks, and this lady was mauled, and she said it did not look like a dog. She said it looked like a dog-like creature.
Wow.
But she just got out of her car, like at her home. I think.
Jeez.
I might be wrong about that, but like there were witnesses. There was someone who saw her laying there and called the police.
Oh my gosh.
So, the official ruling comes down after a few days. Probably the family dog. It's a dog. Maybe a bear. Definitely not a dogman. And here's my thing. I think that they didn't want to put the truth in the headlines. Mm-hmm. Because no police report was ever filed. This was a multi-agency response. There was sheriff's deputy and a DNR officer, which I should know what that means, but I don't. People in northern Michigan were already a little bit scared, but they became more afraid after this. Mm-hmm. And you cannot find the official paperwork for this event. So it was reported on the news. The police were definitely called. The sheriff and the DNR. Are you looking up DNR?
Well,
it's the Department of Natural Resources.
There we go.
So like at Texas Game Wardens.
Haley showed me do not resuscitate.
I was like, I don't think this is it.
There was a do not resuscitate officer. So they thought an animal was believed to be the cause.
Hey, wait, cut out the part where I said Texas Game Wardens because that is not correct.
Not for Michigan.
So here's the other thing. The slobber marks and bite marks were 6.5 to 7 feet up the windows.
What?
The Labrador that they believed did this was not that big, even on its hind legs. You'd have to be quite a tall animal to leave 7-foot bite and slobber marks on the outside of the window.
Wow.
So 7 feet up. A Labrador is about 2.5 feet at the shoulder. If it's on its hind legs, it's going to be like what, 5 feet? This thing was 7. So Chamberlain, one of the officers that was there, he initially thought it was a bear. And he even said, we figured it was a bear. So why they said it was probably the family dog is really mysterious because the family dog was not big enough to make the marks. A bear would have been, but they decided to somehow say it was a dog instead of a bear.
But a bear would be more destructive.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
Well-
it? Maybe.
The deputy chamberlain, he's the cop who was there.
Uh-huh.
He kept a piece of the wood from the cabin as a souvenir, and he still has it. And he's actually a working detective now, and he takes friends and relatives up to that cabin, and he shows them where he took the piece of wood off, and he says, this is where the Dogman was, and he still states that he thinks it was Dogman, a creature, not a bear, not a dog. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, couldn't there be like a DNA analysis on that at this point? Like,
Well-
he has it.
They should do one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things where he doesn't want to do the DNA because then if it comes back as just bear or dog, he's like, never mind.
The mystery.
Also, if there was a dog man, what would the DNA come back as? Would it come back as canine? Would it come back as human? Would it come back as a mix?
It's a great.
I don't know.
We'll only know if Deputy Chamberlain takes that piece of wood and lets them, extract some DNA and
You
gets
know
it
who else
tested.
might have the answer?
Who?
Lauren Coleman.
I bet
Lauren
Coleman would
Coleman.
have the answer.
Hey, Lauren Coleman, shoot us an email at thespookydarlings@gmail.com.
So, after the Great Cabin Attack of 1987, there are fresh reports of things happening currently. So, just before the song aired, in Manistee, a man named Ray Greenway reported a sighting along the Manistee River, and he just told it. He said that there was as he was driving along, he saw what looked like a half man, half dog by the river. And then in 1993, so we're not sticking to our sevens anymore. So the legend that every 10 years it would make an appearance kind of seems to crumble here. Mm-hmm. And I think that was created with the song because he used the song to create experiences in decades. And then, when the first guy called, Robert Fortney, 1937 fit the narrative.
Uh-huh.
But in 1993, in Grand Haven, Ottawa County, a guy who is only known as Ben, we don't know his full name, had 3 sightings on 3 separate occasions. First, on his parents' driveway on Lakewood Drive, he looks out, he sees something standing on 2 legs behind his car. It runs off when he starts screaming. And then, in 1993, in Reed City, so not 3 sightings by Ben, 3 sightings in this area.
Uh-huh.
In 1993, in Reed City, a 13-year-old girl named Courtney looks into the barn at her family's property, and there's a 6-foot tall head of a dog, body of a man staring back at her. Then, in 1994, also in Ottawa County, a man hits what he thinks is a deer with his car. He pulls over to look. There is no body. There's just gray fur caught on the front grill. And so he wondered, did he hit the dog man? He may have just hit a deer, and it might have run off.
Yeah,
but,
deer fur is kind of gray.
Well, deer fur is different than
Dog fur.
dog fur.
Yeah.
Fur hair. So, 2017, so we're getting more and more recent. University of Michigan, a linguistics professor. He's 51 years old. He had been 23 years on the faculty. He's just not the type of person that you would think is going to make up a story or be prone to, a paranormal sighting that comes out of nowhere. He takes his nightly walk through the Nichols Arboretum. I'm assuming it's on campus, and he sees motion detector lights flicking on parallel to his path. Something is pacing him.
Scary.
He stops. Out of the shadows steps a 7-foot creature with silver gray fur, and he described it as intelligent eyes. He says it studied him like a lab specimen. It tilted its head, and it looked at him for about 45 seconds.
That's one of the scariest things.
And the professor said that he could not move for 17 minutes. He stood there frozen for a solid 17 minutes after the encounter before he could actually get his body to move and get out of the arboretum. That is scary.
Wow, he has such an accurate accounting of time.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if he looked at his watch. He's like, can't move. Huh. I mean, who knows how he tracked that. But 17 minutes.
Wow.
So then, 2022, 3 a.m., Grand Rapids, downtown. There's someone who owns a food truck, and this guy's closing up alone, and a street light flickers. And then out of an alley behind a bank, something steps into the light. He said it was 8 feet tall, deep black fur with silver patches. and a face that he said was too human. So this is the first person that says the face was human. Like everyone else has said human body or human-like body, but still with the fur. But the head of a dog, this one said the face was human. And I wondered if he's meaning the same thing that the professor said, like the intelligent eyes, like the dog looked like it had some kind of intelligence that you just don't see in in an animal encounter that you would see in an encounter with a human, where you're reading expressions like human, with human emotions and human intent.
Right.
So this food truck owner says it chuckled at him, a low rumbling chuckle, and then ran away. He doesn't say if it ran away on all fours or bipedally. I don't know.
Jogged on his haunches.
Well, time to finish my run.
First he ran in place, looking at him with eye contact before sashaying.
Oh, I thought he was doing the Roadrunner thing where he gets up his speed and then takes off. Then, 2023, November 15th, Northern Michigan University, Marquette. 1:30 in the morning, a sober college student, so they identified that this person was not drinking, a sophomore, was walking back to her dorm after writing a 12-page paper. It was snowy. There was about 3 inches of snow, and she sees wolf tracks in the snow. And she knew they were wolf tracks because they were too big to be a dog's. And over a stretch of about 6 feet, she watches the tracks grow. They get bigger. They deepen. They become enormous. And then suddenly humanoid.
What?
They transform from looking like a wolf to getting bigger to suddenly looking like human footprints, but with claw marks at the toes. So imagine a big human foot, but with the claws that you would see like in a wolf track or a bear track or a cougar track, if you've ever seen those, like where they have the claws.
Yes.
So she's sitting there kind of, again, frozen in fear, staring at this going, what am I seeing? And she turns around and there's an 8-foot creature standing 20 feet behind her, partially behind a birch tree. She says it has amber glowing eyes. It doesn't attack. It nods at her.
It's hiding partially behind a birch tree.
A birch tree.
Does that not remind you guys of anything?
The
nightmare I had where that panther was stalking Jordan and then it would hide behind a tree?
Yes. You guys are not watching this because we don't have videos, but Emily acted that out with her paws up. Like she was hiding behind the tree.
Oh my gosh.
Because that's what happened in my nightmare.
Yeah.
Well, get this. It nods at her, and then it speaks. She says it sounded like 3 voices layered on top of each other, but she couldn't make out the words. But it sounded like it was trying to communicate like in a human voice. She just couldn't make out what it was saying.
Wow.
She said it felt like about 2 minutes, and then it turned and it walked away. Upright. Bipedally. Like a person, like a human, into the woods past the dome where she was walking. And it says that she changed her major to folklore studies that week because she was so impressed and fascinated and terrified by this experience that she had that she wanted to be able to turn this into like what she studied.
Wow.
So those last 4 examples that I gave you, like the ones that happened like 2017, 2022, those ones, they all came from a paranormal blog, not from a newspaper. So do with that what you will. It doesn't mean that they are not true. We know that often our newspapers try not to publish things that are going to make the people panic unless they're doing it because they've been told to, and the governing forces are trying to get people to panic.
Because the news is bought and paid for.
So, as I already said, Michigan is not the only state where a wolf-headed dog man type creature that stands on 2 legs has been seen in the woods or in the towns, because 250 miles west of Wexford County is a place called Bray Road. And this is in Elkhorn, Wisconsin. And there have been several sightings, but especially in the 90s, the area exploded with sightings of a 7-foot hairy thing that looked like a wolf or a bear, but walked upright. And they call it the Beast of Bray Road. And there's a book called The Beast of Bray Road, where the author named Linda Godfrey, and she's the one that covered the original case about this, says, and I think she actually died recently, but she was in did an interview in a documentary called Dawn of the Dogman that just came out. It's on Tubi. I haven't watched it yet because I didn't find out about it until just this morning, but I want to watch it.
Sister movie
documentary time. And she really believes that the sightings of the Dogman in Michigan and the sightings of the Beast of Bray Road that happened in the 90s are either the same creature or are like related to each other. Like it's either the same exact creature or like, they're brothers or something. I don't know.
Wow.
So.
Okay.
Steve
the different
Cook.
colored eyes.
Yeah. Well, amber eyes, according to the college student that changed her major to folklore.
Blue eyes.
Blue eyes, according to any of the sightings where people called in and said their sightings happened before 1987. Blue eyes.
I might be thinking of the Palmyra wolves. Has anyone said green eyes?
No one.
Blue or amber?
From the Michigan Dogman that I have found said green eyes.
I inserted that from the Palmyra wolves then.
But, yes, the Palmyra wolves story was green eyes.
Yeah, okay.
But, it's just so curious to me.
Yeah.
I would say, okay, so Steve Cook, he's still, I forgot this part. The people that heard it make sounds, and this started with the lumberjacks in 1887, said it did not howl like a wolf or like a dog, but that it screamed like a human. It screamed like a human, and other reports said it sounded like a crying baby.
Oh.
So that to me is a little...
That's spooky.
Flesh pedestrian-ish. Like, let me try to lure you out here.
Yeah.
Like a...
Skinwalker?
Yeah. The crying like a baby. Because if you were walking in the woods and you heard a baby crying, you'd be like, oh my gosh, there's a baby. There's a baby lost. I would.
Yeah. You would want to find that baby.
But also, like, the weird, like, seeing something that's gigantic, first of all, 8 feet tall, and then you're expecting, like, this guttural howl. And instead it's just
Or
screaming.
like a snarl like a bear.
So wait, are you saying that in those situations they were looking at this thing and then it would start crying like a human baby?
I don't know exactly how the sound was heard, but it just said, in my research, it just said reports have said that some people said it cried like a human baby.
Wow.
And then
That would be
maybe
really
it was like
off-putting.
people-
I'd be like, ooh, maybe this is a Teen Wolf romance situation. And until it starts crying, and I'd be like, never mind. Pump the brakes.
You're like, I can't with you. Well, and I wonder, maybe it's something like where
I love that you're
someone's
finding romance with cryptids.
Emily, do you have a story? Do you have ideas for a story you're writing in the future? But I wonder, like, if you're walking in the woods and you're hearing weird sounds, that feeling where you're like, something's out here with me, and maybe someone like heard the sound of a baby crying, and then suddenly saw the wolf man, and maybe they thought the wolf man was making that sound, but really he had kidnapped a baby.
Hey,
And was
Wolfman,
raising
don't
it.
do that.
And was raising it with love,
Okay.
not eating it.
Good.
So Steve Cook, he is still alive, and he still works as a radio DJ, and he has done dozens of interviews about the song over the years, and he calls himself a skeptic. This is his quote on the record. I'm tremendously skeptical because I've sort of seen the way folklore becomes built from the creation of this song to what it's turned into. But he also said, I do believe people who think they saw something really did see something. I also think the Dogman provides them with an avenue to explain what they couldn't explain for themselves, which is good to have when you see something that's inexplicable or unexplainable.
Yeah.
Either one. It feels good to feel like other people had the same experience. It just is comforting to have an avenue that explains it, to have something like that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. The question is, did the song create the legend? Did the legend create the song? Is it a hoax? Do we have an egregore type situation on our hands where so many people talked about it and gave it energy that people started to see something real manifesting in places? Except some of the sightings were not even didn't have anything to do, like the one that happened in 1987 or 1986, right before the release. Like that sighting was reported and written down before that radio. broadcast.
Right.
And wasn't included in the song of the radio broadcast. He didn't do
Right.
like a...
Do you think this creature has been evolving, like over this amount of time that people have been seeing it, and that the noises it makes have evolved to become something that's less, I don't know, unimpressive than a baby cry or like a loud human shriek? Then suddenly it's like a three-layered, when you said the three-layered voice, it brings to my mind that, that voice effect when somebody's distorting their voice through a thing, like on a witness protection thing or something.
Let's all say something in unison, the three of us at the same time, and we can demonstrate it. We want to say, like, hi, I'm the Dogman. When I count to three, ready? Or like at this tempo, hi, I'm the Dogman. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Hi, I'm the Dogman.
Dogman.
Don't worry, I'll layer it over each other since Emily's the beat.
I will do it.
Or you will.
I knew I needed to go so low to make it round out for you guys.
You delivered.
Apparently, people have said that clapping your hands really loud, I don't know if it necessarily scares the Dogman away, but it will make him go away.
Maybe it just triggers his core dog.
Yeah. He's either like, someone's calling me, because that's how I used to call my dog. Or, oh, by the way, Steve Cook has sold several copies of his song, and you can still buy copies of it, and he donates all of his proceeds to an animal shelter. I thought I had the name of the shelter, but I don't see it.
Oh, that's
cute. But he
cute.
donates all of his proceeds to an animal shelter, and he loves talking about it. He'll do interviews about it. I didn't have the bravery that Emily had, nor the thought to email him. I should have. But I will put all my sources in the source notes. But we got this from Cadillac News, the Michigan Enjoyer, Wikipedia, Dawn of the Dogman. Those are pretty much my sources.
And they will be in our show notes.
And they'll be in the show notes.
Yeah.
And you can find Steve Cook at michigandogman.com.
Hey.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy.
Wow, Nitty, that was great. That was so
So
fascinating.
good.
Oh, there's actually video footage of where twice in 1 year people caught footage of the Dogman, but a lot of people think it's a hoax. And I watched it, and to me, the first one is weird because at the very beginning, you're like, that's clearly a man wearing a wolf suit, because when he starts to move, you can see that he's crawling on his knees and you see his foot behind him. But then as he moves, all of a sudden he's on all fours, and then all of a sudden he looks like a dog. So it's a little weird. But some people are like, it's a hoax. Look at his leg. But I'm also like, but also he looks like he's morphing a little.
And that's kind of goes along with the footprints you were talking about.
Yeah. Say that into the microphone.
Look, that sounds like it goes along with the footprints you were talking about.
Where they change from wolf to human. It does.
Yeah.
And then the other sighting was just someone filming in the woods, and they captured like his face through the camera, where it's kind of like, do you see it? Do you see it? Now it steps forward, and you're kind of like, yeah, I think I see it. And you can see how it is it's not, he said, the guy that captured this one said he thought it was Bigfoot, and he is, I don't remember his name, but he is a crypto
Zoologist?
he's like a cryptid researcher and like
Enthusiast.
a paranormal investigator enthusiast. And he said at first he was so excited because he thought he got footage of Bigfoot. But then he said as he looked at it, Bigfoot has a flat face like a human, and this creature had a snout like a wolf, but
Dog
was
face.
hugely tall, like 7 to 8 feet.
Gosh.
So that's it. That's the Michigan Dogman.
Dang.
Wow. That was great, Nitty.
Spooky. Thank you, Emily. And thank you, Haley.
Yeah. Em, you want to go next?
I'm happy to. Okay. Legend has it that a small, child-sized goblin with glowing red eyes, a bright red face that resembles an old man, and rotting, sharp, pointed teeth haunted what is now the city of Detroit for the last few hundred years.
What?
Oh.
Its creepy laugh mimics a crow's call. It wears black fur or a mangy, tattered black fur coat. This is the Nain Rouge. And I'm probably butchering that pronunciation if you're trying to make me French, but I am not.
You are not French.
Yet. So this creature is said to be a harbinger of doom or an omen of misfortune. Some have compared it to the Mothman, actually. Like, is this thing trying to warn people of impending tragedy, or is it bringing the tragedy, right? So people, you don't really quite know. But in the late 1600s, the area around Lake Erie and the Detroit River were home to, like groups of indigenous people whose communities were deeply connected to land and water. And they believed in a powerful manatee or guardian spirit that was believed to watch over the land and water. They built a wooden representation of this guardian spirit, and it was like a small human-like figure painted red. And they would pay respects and give offerings, and they even adorned it with feathers and different things. And around 1670, some French priest missionaries that were coming from Montreal set out with the goal of converting Native people and spreading their Christianity and helping to further expand the fur trade, which this is one of those moments where I realized that my childhood education didn't quite connect with real history, because I thought the fur trade was like people trading furs for food, and then that guy would wear the fur on his pelt. I didn't realize that it was like this massive fur trade, like the spice trade, where basically all the furs were going to Europe. People weren't trading each other furs and putting them on their cap. That was literally I'm 44. It wasn't until I was reading about this that I realized that France just had an appetite for furs, and all the furs were going to France.
Wow.
Wow.
You guys probably already knew that. I was trying to talk to Jordan about it last night because I was like, guess what I realized? And he was like, yeah, duh.
Hey,
Emily,
Emily, guess what I just learned today? That the fur trade was not what you thought it was, too. That the furs went to France. I just learned that right now.
I think they really confuse you with all the caps with the tail hanging off. Don't you kind of think maybe that's where the furs are going?
That's where I thought they were going.
I feel like I learned that the fur trade was a major trade recently when I was helping either Theo or Natalie with one of their social studies classes. So it would have been in the past few years when they were in middle school doing the American Revolution and the westward expansion. I think during the westward expansion section, we learned about that. So that's when I learned that. So I think it was just a hole in our education. They didn't explain the fur trade.
I mean, listen, I thought our education in our little town of LeGrand, Oregon was a pretty lovely education.
It was great.
But yeah, that part, I was
we still went to school though when they were in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. What a hero. What a great guy. We still,
that's true.
That's what we were learning.
Turns out, not a great guy.
And they have definitely changed that.
Have changed.
That curriculum has changed quite a bit.
I mean, I was surprised to learn last night that France had been excited about beaver fur in the late 1600s.
And I just learned that today, right now.
So the priest missionaries went downriver through Lake Ontario, and after a time they spotted this clearing with something in the center of it, and it was this great it wasn't great, it was small, this little wooden, it was like a child-size wooden goblin figure facing the water, adorned with feathers and offerings. And they stopped, they looked at it, and they determined that it was some kind of demon idol or something, and they knew that they had to destroy it. So they used an axe blessed with holy water to destroy the statue, and then they burned everything that remained, and then they continued on their journey, thinking that they had done the world a favor. And,
they're you're welcome. Oh, dear.
Turns out they released something.
So maybe, though, the indigenous people were upset to find this destruction, and they believed that the spirit that had been inside that wooden statue had now escaped and would manifest as a red, glowing-eyed creature, a spirit that they believed held power over wind, weather, water, all kinds of things.
Wait,
and so these people kind of cursed the Frenchmen of the area.
Is it not Nain Rouge? Is it Nain Rogue?
No, because it's red.
As in red.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, moving on from this little anecdote with the priests, and I do want to say really quick, I read as much as I could find online about this creature, but I found a podcast that went really in depth about it. And I just want to share the name of the podcast so I don't forget. And I will share this in our show notes too. But if you want a longer format episode about this, Theories of the Third Kind, Cryptid, Nain Rouge. That is a really great, very in-depth, and I got a lot of information from that in addition to like Wikipedia and all of the other places that I usually search.
Theories of the Third Kind.
Sweet.
I'll give it a listen.
They do a good job. It's a really fun
is it mostly
podcast, like
cryptids
like
and paranormal?
Cryptid paranormal, alien stuff. I've listened to a couple of their episodes, and it's really well done. I enjoy it.
Nice.
So, in 1701, so we've fast forwarded over 30 years.
Okay.
France was preparing to send out another expedition to settle this region that would soon become Detroit, and it was led by this fancy French man named Antoine de la Mont Cadillac.
That's where the town Cadillac must come from. Must be named after him.
I believe so. So Cadillac and 100 men from Montreal prepared to travel into that area. And on March 10th, 1701, there was a big party in honor of their departure. A fortune teller, a tall lady in black, arrived at the party with a black cat perched on her shoulder.
Oh my gosh. I want to be her.
She made her way through the crowd with her sights set on Cadillac. She made her way straight to him and told him his fortune.
Oh my goodness.
She said that his new settlement would become a great city with more people than all of New France at the time. But, she said, appease the Nain Rouge. Do not offend this little demon, or misfortune will befall you.
Oh my gosh.
That is so crazy. I did not know we were going to get a sorceress in this story.
Oh, yeah.
And her description, the tall, long black dress with a cat on her shoulder.
Yeah, she was a tall woman. Her name, according to the podcast that I listened to, Theories of the Third Kind, her name was Marie Manique, or Manique. So I don't know how to pronounce that in a French kind of way, but
that is a great name.
I did not find her name in any of my other sources. So I just want to say that, but that was what they said her name was. Mm-hmm. So she left the party. Everybody kind of murmured about it a little bit and then, just kind of moved on. Mm-hmm. That summer, Cadillac and his men traveled and built like a pretty prosperous fort called Fort Pontchartrain du Detroit, or Fort Detroit, as it later became, which was very near where the French missionaries had destroyed or possibly potentially released, as Haley said, that little demon creature 30 years before.
Oh, man.
So sad to ruin such a thing.
I know.
So in the summer of 1701, Cadillac was walking with his wife when suddenly a little red dwarf-like creature with fiery eyes jumped out before them on the path.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Creature made an eerie, laugh that resembled a crow's caw.
Oh my gosh.
Haley?
Ha-ha!
That's perfect. You're so good, Haley.
Yes.
Then Cadillac attacked it with his cane, shouting, "Get out of my way, you red imp."
Uh-oh.
And the little monster ran away, and Cadillac and his wife told everyone about their encounter. His wife was like, "Oh my gosh, why did you do that? You know what that fortune teller said." And Cadillac is like, "Whatever, it's fine. We should, it seemed like a demon. We should try to cast away demons."
Silly woman, don't question what I did. I defended you from the creature.
Why are you listening to another woman?
Not long after, his fortune ran out. He fell out of it. He was like a high flyer. He was set up to be such a powerful man, but he fell out of favor with everyone around him. He was demoted to a post in Louisiana, imprisoned, and eventually he lost all of his wealth.
Oh, no.
Rumors of the curse of the Nain Rouge only grew with this series of events, leaving people of Detroit to wonder if the curse extended beyond Cadillac himself and perhaps if the land was cursed.
Oh, goodness.
So the French had eventually lost Detroit to the British in the French and Indian War. In 1763, Chief Pontiac of the Ottawa got multiple tribes from the region to band together in what is known as Pontiac's Rebellion, because the British were not as nice as the French had been to the First Nations people or to the Indigenous people. And in May of 1763, they together laid siege on Fort Detroit for weeks. And by the end of July, the British tried to break the siege with this sneak attack. They tried to have 250 of their men, like that is the first clue that you're not being sneaky, 250 of their men sneak up to Pontiac's camp. And who do you think they saw pacing them?
Oh my gosh, was it
as
the
they went
Nain
along?
Rouge? Was it creepy little red demons?
Yes,
boy.
it was the Nain Rouge, stalking alongside them, laughing, cartwheeling, as they made their way to Pontiac's camp.
Oh my
gosh.
goodness.
The French had seen the British trying to sneak out, and they teamed up with Pontiac's group and warned them, and they were prepared, and the British were ambushed, completely decimated. Many
boy.
died. Their leader
So
was
sad.
beheaded, his head placed on a spike, and those who
boy.
survived said that they saw the red creature, known as the Nain Rouge, laughing and dancing among the corpses.
Man.
The siege of Detroit eventually
So
ended
sad.
because Pontiac basically lost interest and kind of just withdrew. Not because the British won, but he just decided to be done with the siege.
Okay.
This is probably a total oversimplification of the way that siege ended, but this is coming from cryptid sources, so don't judge me on my history knowledge.
I'm mostly just fascinated that I never knew Pontiac, the car, came from the Pontiac tribe. And I never knew that Cadillac, the car, came from the name of a French explorer / politician.
/ demon dwarf bee raider with a cane.
Yeah, he made a mistake.
Big.
So
mistake.
the siege was over, but whispers of the Nain Rouge were louder than ever. Everyone spread word, neighbor to neighbor, and even in bedtime stories, beware if you see the red dwarf, tragedy is coming.
Oh my gosh.
In 1884, Detroit was becoming like quite the city of industry. In October of 1884, a woman claimed to have been attacked by a little horned red baboon-like creature late one night. People thought that maybe it could have been the Nain Rouge. People nearby heard her screams and saw this hobgoblin, like a little red hobgoblin, fleeing into the night. Some people laughed, some people were skeptical, but so many rumors swirled that the Nain Rouge had returned.
Wow.
In the 1960s in Detroit, a rash of sightings of the Nain Rouge giggling and cartwheeling in the street were a precursor to the deadly riots, or the 12th Street riots of 1967, which
Really?
are said to be the bloodiest urban riots that the United States has ever seen.
Were
that
those
lasted
the ones where
5
the
days.
cops, is that the one where the cops, killed all the peaceful protesters that were protesting Vietnam?
I think this was a race riot, so I don't recall
I don't know.
that.
I don't know. It's 67 made me think Nam, but I actually don't know the years of the wars. Sorry. Nam was in the 70s. I don't know.
We can cut that out. I don't know either. We can look it up. I understood this to be like a poverty and race riot. And basically, I think what I understood was that the police attacked, the police basically raided an illegal bar, and then just chaos disrupted, and buildings were damaged and burned, and whole entire city blocks were decimated.
Right.
This lasted 5 days. 43 people died, but hundreds of people were injured, and there was extensive damage to
Wow.
the city.
Wow.
Then, in the 1970s, Detroit police logged multiple sightings of a creature that matches the Nain Rouge description before riots or other disruptions. And these were literally police reporting this, police writing it down,
What?
trained reporters saying it, but not quite admitting what it was because it was embarrassing.
What?
And in March of 1976, the Nain Rouge was spotted on top of a very tall utility pole. People thought maybe at first it was a child or something, but then it jumped down gracefully, landing softly. It leapt from that height to the ground, laughed, and ran off into the night. And then
we're
just
sure this-
2 days later, this catastrophic freak ice storm hit Detroit.
Oh, wow.
And the whole city was without power for days.
Oh, shoot.
Whoa.
They're sure they're not like little monkeys, like red fur, little
I mean,
chimps.
yeah,
or-
I mean, I don't think so, but I did see a monkey once go on top of a light pole in Malaysia, and then it shook. It stole Julia's water bottle, then went on top of the light pole, and then shook her. It wasn't a water bottle; it was apple
Mocking.
juice. Shook her apple juice down all over all of us.
Mocking you guys, yeah.
What a turkey.
But do they
What a monkey.
do they laugh like this? Ha ha!
Yes, no, they don't actually. So there have been other sightings here and there, but now the city approaches the Nain Rouge a little bit differently, and I think this has maybe helped them. Since 2010, there has been an annual event called the March of the Nain Rouge.
Ooh. I want to go. When is it?
I want to go.
The pictures that you can find online are so fun. It makes it look like an event that I would love to attend.
Mardi Gras?
People get dressed up. Some people dress like the Nain Rouge. Some people just wear horns. Some people carry signs. Some signs are like pro Nain Rouge. Some are like banish the Nain Rouge, whatever. But they burn a big effigy of the Nain Rouge. There are like big long dragons that look a little bit like those like Chinese lion dance
Oh, yeah. Like the ones
things.
that do Chinese New Year.
There are fire dancers, goblin kind of things. I don't know, like some people have signs that are like, I heart Nain Rouge or whatever, or be nice to the Nain Rouge.
Wow.
And sightings don't seem to happen as much, and tragedies don't seem to quite happen as much. So do you think that possibly they are fulfilling the sorceress's request to appease
Yes.
the Nain Rouge? Is this
Yes.
parade appeasing?
Yes.
I think
So they're
it
being
is.
left alone, or are they banishing as some think? Because I think there's kind of a dual nature of this march.
Well, it makes me wonder, like the initial statue that was destroyed. And I do wonder
Maybe.
if Cadillac had not attacked that little thing, if he had just been like, oh, so sorry, like it's a kind of thing, offered it a cookie, you know what I mean? Maybe his fortune would have been different.
Or offered him his cane instead of bashing him with his cane.
Okay, so apparently, though, like in the late 1800s, there were some occult societies. Like I think in Detroit area, there were a lot of occult societies. That was kind of like a time for that movement anyway. But
Yeah.
they apparently believed that the Nain Rouge was a protector, that they, like to be summoned. And they thought that since it always appeared before disasters, that it was probably a warning that was happening, which, I mean, I kind of thought that could be true. But some skeptics think that this legend was entirely fabricated because the first reliable mention written wasn't until an 1883 book. And I question this part of the reliable mention because I don't know what other mentions there are that they're saying are not reliable, but there was an 1883 book. So this is, 200 years after the first supposed thing that we heard about. But this book was called The Legends of La Detroit by Marie Carolyn Watson Hamlin, in which she compiled these old stories, including Cadillac's story and the tale of the Red Idol and the missionaries. But apparently there weren't any records that anybody can point to that precede that book. So was she just trying to garner interest or create some sort of fascinating history or folklore surrounding the Detroit area for some purpose that I don't understand? I don't know. But that's everything I have about the Nain Rouge.
Wow.
Until we all go to Detroit for that festival sometime in March one year.
Fun.
How about
So it is in March?
Yes.
It's in March every year?
Yeah.
I say yes, let's go.
Yes.
We just got to finish
We've gotta
raising
go
these
to this.
rascals that we've got under our care. Get them to
right.
quit needing us.
We got to go to the Nain Rouge, and then we have to
Yeah.
go to Mardi Gras.
Wait, what was the second part you said?
We got to go to Mardi Gras.
In Detroit?
No, New Orleans.
Just another thing she wants to go to
Festival.
that's not related to Detroit.
Yes.
Just our sister trips.
There's so many places we need to go.
Yes, and that will be my TikTok. My TikTok series, places I want to go with my sisters. But I got these kids and this husband keeping me at home and money. But I need money. And if only I could have a full-time job traveling with my sisters.
Well,
Emily, that was so
start
fascinating.
making that dream come true. Emily, I loved that.
When I read the little blip on it, and it said, I just thought it was going to be some kind of water sprite, and I was picturing it being like in like Lake Michigan, you know? And this was not what I expected at all, but that is usually what happens when you report on a cryptid, is I'm always taken by surprise and blown away.
Yeah.
Well, don't get blown too far away by the Manitou,
I shan't.
known as the Nain Rouge.
The Manitou Nain Rouge. Or Rogue.
Perfect.
Just
Or
kidding.
Rogue. It could be.
Could be.
Was I mispronouncing Rouge the whole time and it's named Rouge?
I don't think so.
I think you're correct. I think I was
But
silly.
but it is kind of like a good point because, like you say, someone goes rogue when they just kind of like go against the grain or like go against the plan.
Or when they totally go red.
Or they try to go rouge.
So,
Haley, what you got
Well,
for us?
I guess this is my turn now.
it is Haley time.
So,
Cut out my singing.
Don't cut
maybe
it
I
out.
will, maybe I won't. I did too because they were both just really short, but I thought they were both kind of fun. So we're gonna start with the Ogre of Seney or the Legend of Snapjaw. So we're in 1800s Seney, Michigan. Seney. Hey,
Senney.
Seney.
Seney.
Maybe Seney. It is a logging town. And
Seney. Just kidding.
the 25-mile stretch between Seney and Singleton has a lot of logging communities that are no longer in use. It's a beautiful drive. And back in the 1800s, there were many, quote, hard-nosed fellers around. And Seney was known as one of the more seedy logging towns. Bars, booze, brothels.
Sounds like a good time.
Uh-huh. So it was full of those fellers, and there were lots of fights.
Wait,
and
is feller? Are you saying feller because like they're fellows, or feller because they fall trees? And they're fellers.
You know, I was just thinking fellers as in like in a fun
Like,
way
hey,
to
you
say
fella?
Say fella.
Fellow?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look
but
at that
maybe-
feller.
Maybe they also fell tree. Maybe it's a
my
double
gosh, does feller
entendre.
come from tree feller?
Maybe.
Maybe.
And exposing another hole in my fur traders and fellers.
Yeah.
Haley, you were correct. It's Seney.
Seney. Okay. So, out of all of these hard-nosed fellers around, P.K. Snapjaw Small was one of the most well-known.
That's a name.
Uh-huh. And he would do almost anything that someone asked him, as long as he got money in return. Dunk his face in a tobacco-filled spittoon.
Gross.
Bite the head off a bird or other small animals, gaining
do
the
it.
nickname Snapjaw. Eating animal poo.
No.
He even publicly soiled himself.
Dude.
He would do it with one goal in mind, his next drink.
He does not seem like very much fun. Like, it's just
No.
gross.
Disgusting. Also gaining him the nickname Ogre of Seney. Snapjaw had a very odd nose, and it looked like it had been bitten off and sewed back on. Rumor has it that the Michigan Dogman bit it off.
Oh,
He was a logger.
Maybe. Wait, what year was this? Was this 1887?
It was the 1880s.
Oh my gosh, I bet that it did.
Yeah. He was often seen roaming the streets, yelling for another dare, crying for another drink. And they say his ghost still roams the streets, wailing for another whiskey.
Oh, but how? Demonstrate.
Whiskey! Yep.
Haley.
Perfect.
So that's the Ogre of Seney.
Wow.
So I also have the Adda Witch. And in the 1800s, a woman was unfaithful to her husband. She would wait until he fell asleep, put on a white dress, and sneak out. She didn't realize, but her husband noticed. He began to fake being asleep, and he became suspicious due to her sneaking out. Waiting for her to do her nightly dash, he follows her and discovers the affair. The next night, he follows her as she sneaks out. Then he murders her.
Oh no.
And then he waits. And then when her lover arrives, they get in a fight. And they both kill each other injuring each other grievously.
Mortally wounded.
Mortally. So, to this day, there are ghostly figures. The most famous is a lady in white. And there are reports of hearing a fight.
Where? I don't know why in my mind it's in a graveyard.
The Ada Witch.
Oh.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, is it in a graveyard?
Yeah.
Oh. That's just where I pictured it for some, I don't know why, but I was just like, is she?
Yeah, in Ada, Michigan. Yeah. And there are reports of hearing a fight, feeling a presence, and people see blue and green lights. And this story is most often associated with a woman named Sarah McMillan, which Sarah actually died of typhoid fever.
Oh, she was not murdered by
She
her
was
jealous
not murdered
husband?
by her jealous husband. And that is the Ada Witch of Michigan.
Wow, still seen to this day.
Wow.
Yep.
I love it. I love that you did
Those are my two little snippets.
Two cute ones. I love
I
them.
wonder what the green light's about. The blue and green.
I know, it made me think of the Garden Lights.
Yeah.
From, what state was the Garden Lights in?
Arkansas.
Oklahoma? Arkansas?
We haven't done Oklahoma
I think one of the
yet.
first ones.
Have we?
No, we have not, Emily. Good catch. You're right. We have not.
We haven't?
Done Oklahoma?
No.
Not
I thought
yet.
you said Arkansas. What?
We've done Arkansas. Yes.
Yeah, we have.
Wow. Well, good job, sisters.
That's it.
Well, I guess I'm taking us out. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, we are the Spooky Darlings. You can find us on our socials at the Spooky Darlings Podcast on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And the name of our podcast is The Spooky Darlings on Spotify and
Everywhere you
all
listen.
the other places you listen, Apple Podcasts, anywhere. And thank you so much for listening. Join us on Tuesday, where I'll give you a hint about what the topic is. You won't be bored. Would you believe? Oh, shoot. Would you believe? We cut all this out.
Yes, I will.
All right. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Would you believe it?
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Perfect.